So we just saw how to set up the omoplata from the daily Riva guard. The most important thing is disrupting my buddy's elbow to knee connection. If I can disrupt that elbow to knee connection, I can get my hips up into his armpit and omoplata. If I can't, then I can use my knee to disrupt that elbow to knee connection, kind of driving with the knee to get the elbow out of the way. But what if our partner's base is too good for that? In that case, we're going to go with what's called the Shin on Shin guard to set it up. So I get my daily Riva guard, and I get the same grips I had before. I get the collar and the sleeve. Now usually, when you're pulling with the collar and pushing away, especially if this sleeve keeps him attached to you, you're going to be able to separate him out. But there are beasts in this world, believe me, I trained with a bunch of them. And so let's say we tried that, we tried to get our knee behind his tricep, and we were just unable to get his elbow away from his knee. He's just really rooted in position. I'm going to step on the mat, scoot my butt away, and go to what's called Shin on Shin guard. I'll show this from a different angle, but what I'm doing is with active toes, I'm attaching my shin to his shin in, like we used to play the old game Barrel of Monkeys, like attaching like the Barrel of Monkeys hook. There's a lot of cool things we can do from the Shin on Shin guard, but one of the first things that we can do is I'm going to lift with this shin grip in this direction while I yank with the collar in the opposite direction. And you can see, even if I can't get his foot off the mat, I'm definitely going to disrupt that elbow to knee connection. From here, foot comes to the hip, lift, flare, break the posture. One more time from a different angle, just so you can see this hook. Before we get into it, like Eric, just angle your body this way, please. So the Shin on Shin hook is like this. I can't have ballerina feet. Ballerinas are badass athletes, but we're doing jiu-jitsu today. Hooking, so that if Eric tries to get away from me, I can follow, right? Also a very powerful defense against the knee cut pass. And there are a lot of cool things we can do. A lot of people these days just play Shin on Shin guard. And Michelle Nicolini is one of the best in the world at that. I learned some of these techniques from her. And really terrific position to play with. But what we're using it for today is just to set up this omoplata. So, hook, collar, sleeve. I tried to do the first one, he's a beast. Tried to do the second one, elbow's not going away from the knee. Move my hips out, swing that in. You can see I'm making an active hook, like right at the base of his elbow. I'm going to drag as if my elbow is trying to hit the mat right there while I lift. And ideally, this is what his body looks like. Foot comes to the hip, knee comes down behind his shoulder blade, stomp down to break the posture. Grab, grab. I'm grabbing his sleeve, that's okay. I prefer to do this, but sometimes you gotta keep the grips that you got. I don't like moving grips in transition, especially if they're gonna be good enough to finish. Step on the mat, break my partner down, and do the same finishing details we talked about earlier. So you can see why the Shin on Shin guard is so effective, right? We're creating a counter pressure which lifts one of his legs while we're throwing his body in the opposite direction. He has no choice but to take his elbow away from his knee. And when his elbow's away from his knee, we can get our hips up for the omoplata.